All right, so how do you find hail damage to a tar and gravel roof? Well, the thing is, you really don't. Even after 3-inch hailstorms, this is one of the few roofs that is almost virtually hail-proof. Not saying it doesn't happen, just saying it's pretty rare. So I'm going to go over some of the things commonly confused. So this right here, this is a buildup of excess when they were laying it out. Now, this is not related to hail damage. These are dependent on what part of the country and possibly what country you're in. I've heard these called a lot of different things, but the main term I hear around here is dog turd. And so these are just builds up leftover from when they were putting on the roof. So you can see this has nothing whatsoever to do with hail in any way, shape, or form. And so we can check out the walls, which will usually be done with either a modified bitumen or some other. I mean, it's almost always modified bitumen if it's modern. And we don't see anything here. And what we do see is a lot of cracking. So that indicates a bit of age. Okay, we've got a scupper on the inside, a canale on the outside. So we could actually chalk that canale and try to find damage to it. That might get the scuppers. We're still not seeing anything on the walls here. Now, we did chalk the chimney caps here. We do have some peat and nickel size. And so that's one easy way. Again, we're just talking about excess buildup. We haven't seen anything in the deck yet. These bare spots, that's just from gravel displacement. 99% of the time, that's poor application. Now over here, you can see a line. So that is the break in the slope there. So you'll notice against the wall there, the sudden change in slope. And so we can check this area. Now this might have some indentation, but don't be fooled by the cracks. That just means it's been exposed to the sun for an extended period of time. What we're looking for is spider webs, and we're not seeing anything like that there. This is a little bit softer metal than the chimney cap. This is a very thin, cheap aluminum. So this is going to have some more indentations. I'm not really seeing anything big enough there that normally would have damaged the tar and gravel. Now I'm going to be completely honest here. That skylight would probably shatter before this roof gets anything that an insurance company would even consider covering. Looks like all of our scuppers have been redone with plastic cement. So that indicates that there's probably been some leaking or some really poor maintenance. Here we have another bare spot. And so what we might look for, and this isn't going to tell us much. Now you do see some loose rocks, but look at the lack of indentation from where I'm pulling the rocks out. So these rocks weren't attached and were loosened. These are rocks that were never attached. And so if we had any that were fresh detached, you can see right there, that one I just chipped off. That's a dark brown. Now, that's going to turn a little bit lighter over time, but we're not seeing any evidence whatsoever here that there was any hail probably within the last couple years, I would say. And nothing big enough to damage this roof. And so now we're just going to walk the field. Now we've got an area, you can see the threading. And so what that tells me is that never had the final layer of tar put on it to protect it before the gravel surfacing gets applied. And so that's a misapplication. Now that is going to lead to a leak soon. That is going to become an issue. As you can see, it's already shiny. It's already starting to wear through. But it has nothing to do with hail and entirely to do with poor application. Again, that's just some buildup. Here we've got an area where it wasn't properly applied, but nothing here to indicate hail damage. And before anyone says the stucco, look at that stucco quality. Again, layer of patching over it, layer of patching over it. So this stucco was already failing, likely due to poor application, possibly due to age, likely due to poor application. And so somebody came through, did a patch job, probably patched it to sell the home, maybe because of leaks. So yeah, that's how we're looking for evidence of hail on a tar and gravel roof. You know, statistically, historically, these things almost never in any fashion get covered by insurance claims, especially if you're on a residential policy. I've only seen that happen once in 20 years up and down the ladder. I've only ever seen one tar and gravel roof covered on a residential claim, and it took 3.5-inch hail, and it required multiple inspections before they finally approved it. Commercial, I've seen a couple times, but usually what happens is you've got holes all along your parapet walls, you've got dents in your scupper and collector heads, you've got shattered skylights, you've got HVAC ductwork and units that need to be replaced. So you're looking at, basically redoing everything on the roof, and the insurance company turns around and says, well, you've got all this HVAC work that's going to happen, that's going to have risk. You're going to have to tear off all the walls and redo them. That's going to require spudding, all this extra work. You've got to redo the scuppers. You've got to redo parapet, or the curbs. And so when you're aiming to get a tar and gravel fixed, you're not aiming at getting the tar and gravel. You're not looking down. You're looking at your walls, accessories, skylights. That's how you're going to get tar and gravel passed. Even if this had a 3-inch hailstorm, it might not damage it. But even if it did damage it, that damage is going to be very hard to see and incredibly hard to prove. You're going to need an engineer, or you're going to need a professional consultant who specializes in flat application. And there's not a lot of them, and probably a good 2/3 of them wouldn't even touch this, wouldn't even try to look for hail damage, would just tell you to walk away. It's not worth it. And frankly, anybody who's excited to get involved on a tar and gravel claim probably doesn't know what they're dealing with, because those that I meet that do hear this and get super excited for it usually are thinking, oh, I can get anything bought. It just doesn't happen. It takes a very rare specialist, and frankly, I'm not going to be able to buy this or get it bought. So I'm just here to verify the last guy's inspection.